There we go. What the fuck was my settings changed? There we go. Yeah. I just said a bunch of shit that didn't even go on the stream. Talking about my choice paralysis. Staring at the fucking computer all day, watching other people's videos when I could be making my own video, but I'm not. I'm staring at everybody else's, going, in a minute, in a minute. I'll get to it in a minute. I'll do something in a minute. In a minute. In a minute. And the minute never comes until like the middle of the night.
Twitch, but that was over him allegedly inappropriately messaging a minor. For his part, Dr. Disrespect was saying,
I'm going to play some Green Hell in a minute, but
now, this Dr. Disrespect situation just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's now busted into the mainstream. Because what started as a small but meaningful part of another story yesterday blew up right as we were uploading. Because in case you missed it, Dr. Disrespect, aka Guy Beam, he was in the news because two former Twitch employees came forward and said that his mysterious 2020 ban from Twitch, that was over him allegedly inappropriately messaging a minor. Now, for his part, Dr. Disrespect was saying, he could only say so much, but in a handful of tweets, he wrote, "This has been settled, no wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract."
See, that's the thing. No wrongdoing was acknowledged. No wrong. That just means you didn't admit to it, dude. That's all that means. No wrongdoing was acknowledged. That just means you didn't admit it. That's all that means. I mean, seriously. I don't know a lot of criminals who just come right out and go, "Oh, you got me." It's just, hey, you got me. I murdered all those people. I raped all those women. No, that's not how that works. It never happens that way.
I didn't do anything wrong. With him then doing a live stream on Monday saying, he's not going to talk about any of this, though that stream ended with him saying that he was going to take a break. With many then left wondering, what is going to happen next? And literally,
what's going to happen next is his wife's going to divorce him.
As we were uploading yesterday's show, Midnight Society, the gaming studio he co-founded, they cut ties with him and released a statement saying, "On Friday evening, we became aware of an allegation against one of our co-founders, Guy Beam, aka Dr. Disrespect. We assumed his innocence and began speaking with parties involved. And in order to maintain our principles and standards as a studio and individuals, we needed to act. For this reason, we are terminating our relationship with Guy Beam. While these facts are difficult to hear and even more difficult to accept, it is our duty to act with dignity on behalf of all individuals involved, especially the 55 developers and families we have employed, along with our community of players." Right?
Good on them. Good on them, right? Because it's very rare you see integrity like that. Because no wrongdoing was acknowledged. It doesn't change the fact that shit still happened. You just didn't admit, but here's the thing. This is in the world, fandoms don't care about the truth. They really don't. They really don't. Just like Trump supporters. Dr. Disrespect's fans, they're just like Trump supporters, man. Dr. Disrespect could get caught walking down the street with a baby down his pants, and his fans will still defend him and say it was consensual, the baby deserved it. How do we know the baby isn't really 30 years old? Same thing with Trump. It doesn't matter. Somebody called into MSNBC the other night, Trump supporter, literally said these words, said, "I don't care what he touches on who. If he were to molest my mother, I would only adore him more." That's how Dr. Disrespect fans are. It's not going to matter at the end of the day. They're not going to care. They're going to get mad at the people who exposed him. They're going to take it out on them. I guarantee it. Right to the very end. right to the very end. It won't matter because that's how these fandoms are. I mean, that's where the whole stan thing came from. These people are stans. That's why I think it's so dumb. People call themselves stans. It's like, nah, man. Like, you're literally referring to yourself as a sick, demented individual that makes the world a worse place for existing. And the more you make jokes about stans, the more it like treats a very serious subject way more lightly than it should be. Because, my God, you just don't do like that. It doesn't care how much of a fan of the person you are. Once they do something fucked up, they're fucked up. Can't keep defending them. All the pretending won't change the truth. Getting mad at the people that expose them won't change the truth. And at the end of the day, you're going to be supporting an awful person and everyone's going to see you.
Notably, that Friday evening, the date that the Midnight Society gave, that was the same day that one of the former Twitch staffers came forward. Now, of course, with all that, as you might expect, there were a lot of different reactions. Tons of people just demanding that they share the proof or the evidence that led them to this decision. But at the same time, you had others kind of confused as to why there was
Exactly. Dr. Disrespect's own company assumed innocence, investigated, and let him go. HR 101. You don't fire a co founder without serious cause. Why are y'all defending him still and demanding evidence when his own company is cutting ties? Because you have to understand these fans, these people, they could walk into the room and literally catch him in the act of having intercourse with a minor and they will still defend him. Their fandom will not change. If anything, they'll try to join in. That's how these people are.
Backlash to Midnight Society's decision, with a number of people arguing that it's pretty cut and dry, or with gamers in the space like Nadia Amin writing in a since-deleted tweet, "I don't understand how this is even controversial. His own company said we assumed his innocence, spoke with parties involved. These facts are difficult to hear." And then writing, "Why are so many people defending a pedo?" Meanwhile, you had other big names in the space speaking out, like
She's right.
Ninja, for example.
Did their own investigative research behind the scenes, right? And found enough, right? Found enough evidence to let him go from the company.
Exactly.
Right? Not administrative leave, not we'll address this later. Like, they found something is what I'm trying to say. Okay.
Right. Meanwhile, you had others saying Midnight Society doesn't need to share its evidence publicly, saying it's clear based on this decision they found. Right. Meanwhile, you had others saying Midnight
Coping in the replies. Exactly. Midnight Society talked to the relevant parties, got the info, found it damning, and so acted. But they didn't release it publicly, and they don't have to. It's good enough to cut a co-founder loose after initially suing. And plus, at what point does the person he was texting with matter? When does the minor matter? Because that's the thing. So you want to expose them? You want to expose their identity? And that's what that is. I guarantee you. Dr. Disrespect stands want the minor to be exposed so they can attack the minor, so they can go after the minor. I promise you that's what this is. Every single last one of them. They want the identity so they can attack the minor. Because they're feral. They're fucking feral. Stans are feral scum and should never be respected or even acknowledged in any way other than negatively. They should be shamed out of existence.
Society doesn't need to share its evidence publicly, saying it's clear based on this decision they found.
Okay, so I wanted more info before speaking on the doctor's space, but this seems pretty damning. His own gaming studio believed he was innocent and then investigated the situation with parties involved and decided to part ways. Not a good look. Exactly.
Something serious. Others also speculating that part of the reason
full-on adults demanding to see the messages exchanged between that guy and a minor is very weird because you're trying to force a child to come forward about being victimized, and that sure is gross. That's exactly what I fucking said. So fuck all of Dr. Disrespect's fans. Fuck every single fucking one of them. They're fucking dirt, and they're probably in their fucking DMs with minors as we speak.
evidence hasn't been shown is to protect alleged victims, right? Because if what is being alleged here is true, it involves a minor, right? And this is other big creators in the space have noticed, like, this is such a big decision for a company like the Midnight Society.
They're as gross as he is.
So much at stake.
And they came to the conclusion, starting with the belief of Doc's innocence, that it is better, it's more in their self-interest to terminate their relationship with basically the guy who was going to guarantee their game was at least a little bit successful because he was going to market all of it. which is a big fucking decision to make.
With Ludwig also adding that innocent until proven guilty, it's one thing in the court of law. But online, people are just gonna have to base their conclusions on what's out there, right? Knowing that some of these receipts may never get published. And so all day, there's just been this growing conversation, updates coming in. It even got mainstream attention. That was like Bloomberg speaking to sources who backed up the reason behind Dr. Disrespect's ban. And all of it actually leading to Doc responding again this afternoon, saying, let's cut the fucking bullshit. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is
period. That's all you need to know. You should stop right there, because that's everything we need to know. That's everything everybody needs to know to walk away from him. Boom. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Boom. None of this matters, because everything after this is just the same bullshit you see on one of those Chris Hansen To Catch a Predators. Were there real, because I'm already looking at, were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. Every single person caught on To Catch a Predator said the same thing. Didn't they? Didn't they? Have we ever seen a video of someone on To Catch a Predator going, oh, you got me, Chris. You got me. Fair play. I mean, look, okay, here's this thing. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures were shared. No crimes were committed. I never met with the individual. You know what?
is yes. Were there
The people on To Catch a Predator say the same shit. They say the same shit. They say the same. All we did was text. All we did was text. That doesn't matter. Unless it was like fatherly advice followed by don't contact me in my DMs anymore. I mean, come on. A minor slides into my DMs with anything. I mean, if I acknowledge it at all, it's going to be, why are you in my DMs? Talk to me in public. Stop DMing me. This is a trap. But the thing is I'm going to assume it's a trap, and I'm not going to answer anyway, unless it's one of like my friend's kids, like asking for a ride because it was prearranged with their parents or something, you know. Or what about Fred's kid? What should I, you were good friends with my mom. What should I get her for Mother's Day? I mean, you know, that's the conversations you have with minors in your DMs. We could stop right here. Was I DMing a minor? The answer is yes. Okay, you're guilty. Boom. Stop with the To Catch a Predator excuses.
real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. Also, I'll say a note here, because there's been a lot of discourse about this as well. He edited that tweet to instead say individual minor to just individual, but he then later changed it back to individual minor. But then in the rest of his statement, he went on to call the conversations
When you're editing the word minor in and out, that's your conscience.
mutual and casual, so saying they, quote, sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more, claiming nothing illegal happened, no pictures were sent, he never met them, there was a lengthy arbitration, but no criminal case was filed. And with that, saying he took moral responsibility and should have known better as an adult, but adding, now with all this said, don't get it fucking mistaken. I've seen all the remarks and labels being thrown around so loosely. Social media is a destruction zone. I'm no fucking predator.
So why were you in the DMs with a minor? Why were you in the DMs with a minor?
Or pedophile? Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me fucking knows where I stand on those things with those types of people. Fuck that. And all of that has resulted
Okay, Doctor To Catch a Predator.
in an explosion of responses. Right? Some fans saying they stand with him. Meanwhile, elsewhere there was a lot of attention to him.
Wait, what?
Some fans saying media is a destruction zone. I'm no fucking predator or pedophile. Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me fucking knows where I stand on those things with those types of people. Fuck that. And all of that has resulted in an explosion of responses. Right? Some fans.
What the? Congratulations, Pericles, on fitting 2 penises in your mouth at the same time. Please stream your video games on X. Elon is committed to making the preview for gamers. Oh my God, you're pathetic. Oh my God. You're bringing shame upon your whole family with this fucking tweet.
And saying they stand with him. Meanwhile, elsewhere, there was a lot of attention to him editing In and Out Minor. Meanwhile, Robert Bowling,
This is statement for me personally. It does not reflect any of my companies and has not gone through any legal or PR approvals. If you inappropriately message a minor, I cannot work with you. Period. I promised to only act on facts, and I did.
aka 402, or the Midnight Society studio head, he tweeted, "This is a statement for me personally. It does not reflect any of my companies and has not gone through any legal or PR approvals. If you inappropriately message a minor, I cannot work with you. Period. I promised to only act on facts, and I did." And of course, there's been no shortage of other commenters chiming in. Zon Piker saying he Dr. Disrespect the
Oh
age
my
of consent,
God.
and Moist Critical responding, "That's actually shocking." And confirming messaging a minor inappropriately, but saying there wasn't any real intent is almost
Yep.
verbatim what people used to say
So me and Charlie are on the same fucking wavelength with this.
to Chris Hansen. As well as another aspect we're already seeing are more people cutting ties. With, for example, Turtle Beach now appearing to have removed all of Dr. Disrespect's merchandise from their site, including from their partners section. And seemingly all previous links to Dr. Disrespect products now take you directly to the homepage of Turtle Beach. But like I said earlier, who knows if even more is coming? We're waiting to see. And of course, in the meantime, I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts with all this? And while you leave that comment and you're sitting back trying to take in everything we just talked about, I gotta say, hey, welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive into the news. And today, we got a lot to talk about. This has been a busy week so far.
Wow. Wow. I mean, come on. I think Charlie nailed it.
Try to make it consumable for you. So you sit back, maybe hit that like button, otherwise we'll punch you in the throat. Let's jump into it.
This is a news show.
It actually happened. I never knew if this day was gonna come. After nearly 12 years on the run, after so many legal battles, Julian Assange is free. With the founder of WikiLeaks making a deal with US authorities and flying to a US courthouse in Saipan for the final steps. With it notably being one of the most remote US courthouses in the northern Mariana Islands, which is close to Australia and also isn't in the continental US, which Assange doesn't want to risk going to. Right in there, Assange will be pleading guilty to a single felony count of illegally obtaining and disclosing national security material, which is far less than the 18 counts a grand jury originally slapped him with. And barring the judge there deciding to ignore the plea deal, which is very rare, he'll be sentenced to 5 years, which is about the same amount of time that he served in a British prison while he was fighting an extradition to the US, which means that he'll be credited with time served and set free. Right, and while a lot of this may come as a surprise to kind of everyday people, we've kind of had hints that this could be the conclusion for a while now. Right, earlier this year, the Australian government said the case needed to be concluded, the Biden administration saying it was open to a quick resolution, but that then apparently kicking off negotiations for a plea deal. And considering Assange had already spent more time in prison than most people who were convicted of a similar offense do, it seemed pretty obvious to just let him go. Right, and also keep in mind, that's just time officially in a prison, right? Because before that, he was effectively locked in the Ecuadorian embassy for 7 years. You know, with this, overall, the Australian government's very happy with the news. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese tweeting,
"The case has dragged on for too long. There's nothing to be gained by his continued incarceration, and we want him brought home to Australia."
And that is apparently the plan. After the hearing, he's set to go to Australia.
Yeah.
So notably, here in the States, there's been a mixed reaction, let's call it. Right, you've got former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper seeming to be happy with the plea deal, saying that Assange has sort of paid his dues already, with one caveat, saying, "I think another issue here, speaking on behalf of the intelligence community, is you can't have a system where people on their own unilaterally decide, well, I just think it's okay to expose all this classified information when they've made a commitment to protect it."
I mean,
That,
yeah.
to me, is a very important principle to bear in
There'll
mind.
be some
But
discretion.
again, where I began, I think justice is served. Though there, you have people saying, well, the issue is that Assange didn't make that commitment. Right?
Because, like, what Assange, I mean, yeah,
noting instead Chelsea Manning had made that commitment before she leaked it to Assange, so he wasn't beholden to that standard.
Yeah. I see what they're.
Which is also why we've seen civil rights groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and its head of civil liberties say the United States has now, for the first time in the more than 100-year history of the Espionage Act, obtained an Espionage Act conviction for basic journalistic acts. These charges should never have been brought. With that, for years, the U.S. has maintained that Assange and WikiLeaks went too far, saying they went beyond normal journalistic investigations, and arguing instead they put out information they knew would be dangerous to U.S. service members and national security. But again, barring some sort of thing with the judge, Assange is headed home. Though his wife also claims even that's not going to be easy street. Tweeting, Julian's travel to freedom comes at a massive cost. Julian will owe $520,000 US, which he is obligated to pay back.
Wait, what? Wait, what? What? Really? I'm supposed to believe? I don't know. That sounds sketchy.
To the Australian
That dollar
government
amount
for the
sounds
charter
sketchy.
flight, saying he wasn't permitted to fly commercial flights and saying any contribution, big or small, is much appreciated. And then, you'll trust me when I tell you world impacts, with now one of the most shocking coming from a new study out of Johns Hopkins, right? And they looked at infant mortality in Texas, which is a state, by the way, that is home to 10% of all women of reproductive age in the United States. And the data showed that between March and December of 2022, infant mortality jumped 8% compared to just 2% for the rest of the country, meaning that there were 216 more deaths than expected during that time, with the main reason being that the state's 6-week limit on abortions, that's well before tests are done to detect fetal abnormalities, which is also why the number of babies born with birth defects in Texas spiked 23%. Meanwhile, there was a 3% decrease everywhere else. What makes those numbers even more disturbing is that many women know months in advance that their baby will likely or certainly die.
Knowing that
Yeah.
your child is going to die and planning your child's funeral before your child's even here is insane.
But these women usually
And Republicans just want to make it worse because they're soulless monsters.
have to wait until their own lives are in immediate danger, like, for example, from an infection, before any doctor is willing to perform an abortion. And even then, the physicians are extremely skittish about it, because they know that they'll face life in prison if they accidentally run afoul of the law, which is why Texas only records about 5 abortions a month now, and that's also why a group of women who suffered serious complications during pregnancy sued the state, with them arguing that the law is just too vague about when an abortion is medically necessary. But there, we saw the all-Republican state Supreme Court unanimously rule against the women less than a month ago. And a month before that, Florida's 6-week abortion ban went into effect, tightening its previous 15-week ban and closing off a major refuge for women in the South. Now, with that said, while the number of abortions in states with bans has plummeted to near 0, the average number nationwide actually hasn't changed, according to estimates. In fact, if anything,
Yeah,
it may have
'cause it
actually
was-
increased slightly in the year following the Supreme
just
Court
an
decision.
election
And that because
talking
women are
about
taking abortion meds through the mail or traveling to other states.
I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, these Republican politicians honestly don't care about any of the shit that they pretend to care about. What they care about is getting reelected so they don't have to go back into the regular world. Period.
With looser restrictions. So that's not to say that the bans haven't stopped women from getting abortions that they would have, right? In the 14 states where total bans are in place, one report estimates that there would have been 120,000 more abortions between July and September last year. With one of the biggest reasons a number of women haven't is that lots of people simply can't afford to travel because of the sheer distances involved, right? Over 700 counties are more than 200 miles from the nearest abortion clinic now. And in southern counties, that number climbs above 700 miles. So
Yeah.
one, interesting and important information in its own right. And two, it's going to be very interesting if this becomes a topic of debate come Thursday. Because yeah, if you are not aware because you've actively been trying to avoid it, which hey, I understand, the first Biden-Trump debate is set for Thursday. So, there's that. And then we've got to talk about what's going down in Israel because their Supreme Court just made a big move. Right? Because for those who don't know, over in Israel, military service is compulsory for pretty much all Jewish men and women. Though the notable exception there being ultra-Orthodox Jews. Right? They've actually been exempt since the founding of Israel way back in 1948.
Yeah.
Well, that's long
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny about Israel?
been a source of tension, anger over the group's special treatment.
Yeah, y'all can go die for us, but we're not gonna risk our. I mean, that's what it really is. It's like the Orthodox Jews forcing everyone else to die for them. I mean, how fucked up is that?
it's only grown since the start of the war in Gaza. Right? Because while they've been studying the Torah, tens of thousands of reservists have had to serve multiple tours and hundreds have been killed. But now Israel's Supreme Court said, that's done. With the court's judges ruling that the country must begin drafting ultra-Orthodox Jewish men into the military. Writing these days, in the midst of a difficult war, the burden of that inequality is more acute than ever and requires the advancement of a sustainable solution to this issue. And with that, finding that the state was carrying out, quote, invalid selective enforcement representing a serious violation of the rule of law and the principle according to which all...
So you mean in the country of Israel, there was a bunch of people forcing everyone else to die for them? You don't say.
Individuals are equal before the law. And then going even further to say that the government could no longer provide subsidies to religious schools if they enrolled students who should be doing their military service. And one of the big things he provides, according to which all individuals are equal before the law. And then going with that, finding that the state was carrying out, quote, invalid selective enforcement representing a serious violation of the rule of law and the principle according to which all individuals are equal before the law. And then going...
I mean, it would be like if America only drafted black and brown people, or only... It would be like if America started, like, brought on conscription and started doing mandatory military service, but only for black and brown people. Same shit.
Even further to say that the government could no longer provide subsidies to religious schools if they enrolled students who should be doing their military service. And one of the big things here is that this represents a big problem for Netanyahu, right? Because what was once a small ultra-Orthodox minority in Israel has grown into a community of over
the world will be a better place when Netanyahu is gone.
1 million people, making up more than 12% of the population. And with that politically powerful ultra-Orthodox...
Well, yeah. I mean, think about it. If I lived in Israel and didn't want to be in the military, I'd be an ultra-Orthodox Jew too. I'd go to the schools and grow the braids and the beard and the whole 9 yards. And then as soon as I had the money to move to another country, I would. Well, no, I guess if I had made it that far with all of my privilege, I wouldn't need to go anywhere else. I mean, you'd be living in the lap of luxury. 18, time to go off to the army. Nope, nope, nope. I became an Orthodox Jew today. It's not the same as being a conscientious objector.
Orthodox parties are key partners in Netanyahu's governing coalition. So what we've seen is in response to this ruling, ultra-Orthodox leaders have restated old claims that their religious studies are an important part of Israel's defense. With in fact one government lawyer arguing before the court saying that forcing ultra-Orthodox men to enlist would, quote, tear Israeli society apart. And so now there's a real possibility that Netanyahu's ultra-Orthodox allies,
This is why religion is so bad and dumb.
might abandon the coalition, which could then cause the government to collapse and lead to new elections at a time when his popularity has plummeted. And while Netanyahu has called for legislation to continue the exemption in an attempt to hold the coalition together, that plan risks alienating other members of his coalition instead, especially as there's rising public anger over the failure to reach a deal and return the hostage. And to that point, Netanyahu's actually now facing...
But stop forcing it on everyone else. We need to live in a world where we accept that mythology is mythology. You can't call it religion so you can get away with shit. Mythology is mythology. Like, your God is no different from Odin or Saturn or Ra, Anubis. I mean, it's all the same. Thor, it's all the same. Jesus, it's all the same.
Backlash from hostage families for comments that he made this weekend, seeming to dismiss the ceasefire proposal backed by Biden. With one family even trying to put pressure on him by releasing a new video showing the kidnapping of 3 Israelis by Hamas on October 7th, including 1 Israeli American. And with that, what Netanyahu said is that the intensive phase of Israel's offensive in Gaza will end soon, and that he would only accept a partial ceasefire deal. With the big thing there being that it's only to direct more resources to the border with Lebanon, right? Because you have the US now warning Hezbollah that it won't be able to stop an Israeli attack. And of course, you have Netanyahu saying again that Israel would continue its offensive in Gaza until Hamas is destroyed the attack.
Wait, what?
Resources to the border with Lebanon, right? Because you have the US now warning Hezbollah that it won't be able to stop an Israeli attack. And of course, you have Netanyahu saying again that Israel would continue its offensive in Gaza until Hamas is destroyed. And in fact, since he made those comments, we've already seen reports of more Palestinians dead and Israeli airstrikes and tanks pushing further into Rafah. All while experts are still warning that the risk of famine there remains high. And so there's a lot of different things at play here, but they're all interconnected, which gives it this feeling of it keeps growing and growing, but also it could be built on a house of cards. But ultimately, time will tell. And then in some heavily requested international news, let's talk about Kenya, right? Because the protests.
What's that one place with has the openly racist leader? Is his name Ordaban? Victor something Ordaban? Is it Hungary or something? Turkey, Hungary? I don't know. One of those places. It's got this guy. He's like openly racist. I mean, that's like is the state of Israel like right now under their leadership? It's fucked up.
Protests against the government there have hit a whole new level of intensity, with police opening fire on demonstrators trying to storm the country's parliament, multiple deaths now being reported, and part of the parliament building actually ending up on fire. Hell, even the country's ceremonial mace was stolen, with Kenyan lawmakers even reportedly having to escape through an underground tunnel. With all that, where we stand now is at least 5 people have been confirmed dead, according to Amnesty International. And while that number still could change, the thing we know for sure is what these protests are about. Right? It's about a piece of legislation dubbed the Finance Bill 2024. It was introduced in Kenya's parliament back in May, and today the parliament actually approved it, moving it through to a third reading, with the next step after that being for the president to sign it. What the bill would do is basically expand the definition of taxable income, increase excise duties and value-added taxes, and introduce new income tax categories, right, with the ultimate aim being to raise $2.7 billion in additional tax revenue to cut debt and reduce borrowing. But of course, with this, critics say that it's the corruption and greed of politicians that have weakened the country's economy, and that ordinary people shouldn't have to pay the price, especially as Kenyans are already dealing with a cost of living crisis. And this,
I mean, both of these things can be true. Number one, people, I mean, you can't expect your country to do everything for you. You got to do something back. You got to pay your taxes so you can have a nice road to drive on and a school to send your kid to and a fire department to put your house out if it catches on fire. Right? But at the same time, your politicians can be pieces of shit. Republican Party is a great example.
it's also, as the president has already implemented
The Republican Party has reached a point. The American Republican Party, I hate saying American, the United States Republican Party has reached a point where it's like they openly brag about their corruption and their purity. They've actually made like bigotry and racism and corruption into a purity test. Yeah, well, I cheated on more taxes.
a number of very unpopular taxes, right, on everything from gasoline to wheelchair tires, bread to sanitary pads. And notably, those changes coming under pressure from the IMF. Right? So the protests of the bread to sanitary.
Thrilling international investors and the IMF, which has long urged Kenya to double its revenue collections to address its heavy debt burden. This week, the low rumbling of discontent among Kenyans, squeezed by a cost of living crisis and Ruto's levies, exploded onto the streets with thousands of mostly young people protesting at businesses. Okay, yeah. Well, of course it thrilled international investors. I mean, personally, I think we need to bring back guillotines for international investors.
Sanitary pads. And notably, those changes coming under pressure from the IMF. Right? So the protests and the clashes, they've been ongoing since the bill was first announced. So of course, over the last week or so, things have really heated up. And this is the government has actually made some concessions, right? Promising to get rid of proposed new taxes on things like cooking oil, car ownership, and financial transactions. But obviously, that hasn't been enough to satisfy protesters, which brings us to the violence today. And also, a key thing to keep in mind is that the crackdown has been against more than just the people storming parliament, with in fact at least one person dying of a gunshot wound during last week's protest. And rights groups saying that more than 200 other people were injured before today. And actually, Alma Obama, the half-sister of Barack Obama, was tear-gassed by police during an interview with CNN live on air today.
Young Kenyans are demonstrating for their rights. They're demonstrating with flags and banners. I can't even see anymore. They're being tear-gassed.
With Amnesty International reporting that there were 21 abductions and disappearances by uniformed and non-uniformed officers over the 24 hours leading up to today's protests. And so in response to that, ambassadors of 13 embassies in Kenya, including the US, have issued a joint statement saying they are deeply concerned by the allegations.
As friends and partners to Kenya, we note that Kenya's constitution guarantees the right to peaceful protest. All actors have the responsibility to respect, uphold, promote, and fulfill the principles of democracy and the the rule of law, particularly by ensuring a proportionate security response. We are deeply concerned by the violence witnessed in many parts of the country during the recent protests and are especially shocked by the scenes witnessed outside the Kenyan parliament. We regret the tragic loss of life, injuries sustained, including by the use of live fire. We welcome the statement released by the Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koopman, are deeply concerned by allegations of abductions of protesters. We welcome civic engagement by all Kenyans, in particular the youth, in addressing issues of vital public concern. We call for restraint on all sides and encourage all leaders to find peaceful solutions through constructive dialogue. Is the United States on there? Oh my God, it is. That's hypocrisy, folks. My country, the United States of America, signing that is such hypocrisy. Watch the BLM protests and you'll see, because American police are no better than the Kenyan police in this instance. American police are no better than Russian police, Chinese police, North Korean police. It's all the fucking same.
Allegations and calling for
American police
restraint
are
on all
awful.
sides. But for now, all we've actually
Awful.
seen is the Kenyan president stepping up the crackdown, with him even deploying the military to help police deal with, quote, treasonous protesters. And then, traveling abroad is great, but the costs add up. You know that text you get when you land in another country? Cell company offering you an international data plan, and they're expensive at $10 with a good chunk of change by the end of it. Oh, some companies even offer them as part of the tax code implementation in the early 80s, retirees and code Phil to get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase at saley.com/Phil. But then, for this next dive into the news, we actually have a special guest. Me, from this past weekend before I switched offices. And then, so if you're watching the Philip DeFranco show from outside of America, you may be shocked to learn that American retirement isn't a guaranteed thing. Like, yeah, technically, when we make it to retirement age now, we can start getting the Social Security benefits most of us paid into our entire working lives. But really, the vast majority of Americans near retirement age think that the system will just run out of money by the time that they retire. So now, one of the most common retirement plans are 401ks. But the thing there is there's now a growing sentiment that these plans may have actually set us back, right? Because before their implementation in the early 80s, retirees instead relied on Social Security, private investments, and company pensions. And those pensions are something that a lot of retirees today look back on with jealousy. But also, with this, you may wonder, well, what is a 401k? Well, without a doubt, pretty much every adult American has at least heard of it. There's probably a lot of people who don't really know what it is. See, it actually gets its name as part of the tax code that it falls under, and it's a pre-tax retirement account. You pay a portion of your income, and in return, your company offers you a selection of possible investment portfolios to choose from. And the good part is that as long as you're paying into a 401k consistently throughout your working career, you'll end up with a good chunk of change by the end of it. Oh, some companies even offer a match, which means that for every dollar you put in, they'll put in a dollar up to a certain percent. Right? And common schemes are things like a 5% match, so you invest 5% of your pre-tax income, and the company also puts in 5% for you. If a company offers a match, it's often considered one of the best investments you can make because it's literally a 100% return. Now, 401ks, they do have limits on how much you can set aside every year. Like, you can't just put in 50% of your income into it and then just make a crazy amount of money that way. You also can't easily access the money before you retire outside of a few niche scenarios without serious penalties. For example, let's say you really want to take 10 grand out for a new car. That ends up being very likely a dumb move, because on top of automatically being taxed at the highest tax bracket, the money is also subject to like a 10% fee. So you'd really need to take out nearly $20,000 to even get half of that in cash. But that's not the case if you take the money out after 65, which is why these are known as tax-advantaged accounts. And so all of that sounds pretty good. So where's the drawback? Well, the first big one is that not every company offers a 401k. Currently, millions of Americans lack access to any company-backed retirement plan, and instead would need to use something like an IRA or Roth IRA. And that's assuming they even plan for retirement at all. And then with places that do offer 401ks, they may not offer a match. But then even if they did all that, a lot of employees are actually stressed about 401ks because it requires some kind of active participation. You need to choose which of the investment portfolios your company offers to go with. And as you get closer to retirement, the weight of it all really begins to hit you. Think of it this way. You need enough set aside to maintain about 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your lifestyle. So for someone making around $80,000, that's like $1 million in retirement. And of course, the later you start, the harder it is. And that assumes, of course, you even start. Because the reality is that a lot of Americans, especially those with lower incomes, they just can't spare the money for retirement because they need it right now. They don't save. I mean, in 2022, the median retirement account for the 20th through the 39th percentile was just at $20,000, and that's not a lot. And actually, what ends up happening to this group and those slightly above and below them is that their 401ks instead.
Oh, and as soon as Phil started talking about this, every Republican in the United States plugged their ears.
turn into emergency savings accounts. Right? They'll just take the tax hit
American
and
dream.
penalties to get this money when they really need it. And actively choosing which investment portfolio also comes with the stress of what if. Like, what if you choose poorly and it doesn't grow to what you want? Or what if there's a crash like there was in 2008 when many Americans lost on average 25% of their 401ks? And for the vast majority of workers, there's not really another option at their workplace, right? It's 401k or nothing. Meanwhile, compare that to our parents or grandparents where things like pensions were far more common. But nowadays, those plans are reserved almost exclusively for union employees, although they're also disappearing at an increasing rate. And the reason that some are looking back at pension plans with jealousy is that they offer some unique benefits, especially a guaranteed income. Right? With a pension, the company invests on your behalf and pays into a plan and in return offers a flat payout. That's a source of income where the amount is known and relatively stable. And it's also protected an employee from themselves. And what I mean by that is, let's say you start working your career at 25 years old. Well, most 25-year-olds, they probably don't realize how important starting to save for retirement is at that age. So they don't. But with a pension plan, that money's already being put aside. So that brings us to the question of, well, why was there a switch to 401ks if pensions are now looked back at so fondly? Well, pensions, those also have some serious drawbacks, with probably the biggest one being, well, what happens if a company just goes under? Which is something that
Yeah, because I've heard I lost my pension.
arguably becomes more likely if a company is beholden to a large pension fund as they promise guaranteed payouts. And as a matter of fact, the entire reason 401ks even first came about was because Congress passed a law in 1978 that gave employees a voluntary tax-free way to fund their retirement. Or you're pretty much stuck within a job or a work sector covered by your union if you want.
Yeah, there you go. Pinches. That's what it was. I heard people, you get laid off at year 29 and you lose your pension.
Access to that pension.
That was another thing that American businesses, and that's the thing, man. And this is, I don't know why, I don't know why people pretend like this. It's so fucking stupid, but it's all right there on the table. Okay. We had to do the 401k because American companies were corrupt as fuck. CEOs are pieces of low life shit who shouldn't be allowed to exist. I mean, CEOs are cancer, period. So they would lay people off or fire them right before they were eligible for the pension. Same thing with all of these retirement plans. That's why we have to keep coming up with new retirement plans, because every time you come up with a new way to protect the worker, American corporations pay their lawyers to find another loophole to fuck the worker. And then we walk around and pretend this isn't happening. We walk around pretending it's not happening. Instead, we blame immigrants and a $15 an hour wage when that doesn't make any sense. It's like blaming your next door neighbor mowing their lawn for your elbow hurting. That's how dumb that is.
Whereas with a 401k, that can be transferred around. And in the cases where 401ks can't roll over due to a new job not offering a 401k, they're allowed to still move that cash into a tax-advantaged account like an IRA. Additionally, for the employees who are actively monitoring their 401k, there's something to be said about the ability to have some control.
Yeah, but if you end up losing your job at the major corporation and then you go to the small business,
where the investments go. But also, the reality of all this is that despite everything,
working at a small
401ks were
business?
never really meant to be an end-all, be-all retirement plan. They were actually supposed to be part of a so-called three-legged stool, with that phrase first coming about when President FDR was pushing for Social Security as one of the three legs of retirement along pensions and private investments. Right? So ideally, there would be a situation where someone not only has access to a 401k, but also a pension as well as Social Security. What's really interesting is that the scrutiny over 401ks, it's not necessarily a left or a right issue, which is something I feel like we don't often see in today's age. When they first gained widespread popularity during the Reagan years, his administration even tried
401k is another one of those things people run on.
to kill them before losing in court. And it took years for the right to heavily...
Like the right and the left both run on 401ks, but Republicans run on 401ks from a non-union angle, and Democrats run on a 401k from a union angle.
Embrace them.
Because when you're in a union, you're more likely to keep your 401k and not have any issues with it.
And they have. Whereas the left has been upset at the loss of pensions. But over the last few years, there's been another shift on the right as more and more low and middle income families struggle to retire. In fact, so much so that former President Trump's former senior economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, has teamed up with progressive advocates on new legislation in front of Congress to address the retirement crisis. And their proposal is called the Retirement Savings for Americans Act, and it would start a federally run 401k program with the feds matching all contributions up to 5% of your income. Now with this, there's been some pushback at this.
He had to walk away from Trump to do it.
unfairly hurts private 401k plans. But I also don't think many people pity hedge fund managers. Hell,
No, I
even the
don't.
chairman and CEO of BlackRock, one of the biggest firms on Wall Street, has suggested companies ditch
What do you call a busload of hedge fund managers driving over a cliff? A good start.
401ks, and writing to investors that moving away from pensions towards 401ks has meant a, quote, shift from financial certainty to financial uncertainty. And it's also driving
That's not
income
true.
inequality. For the top half of American earners, and especially the upper third or so, they're able to much better leverage their incomes to their 401k.
I mean, that is true, but you can't blame the program for the people abusing and exploiting the programs. That's so stupid. Well, it's a bad program because these evil people keep fucking it up. Okay. So do like we do in the country. You go whoop their ass. And you tell them that if they do it again, you'll whoop their ass again. You make them afraid to fuck with you.
In order to drive long-term wealth. Whereas the bottom half, they just can't do that to the same degree, leading to people working longer and longer in order to get more years.
There's
to put
nothing
more
wrong
money
with this
aside. And with
country
this,
that
unless there is some fundamental
couldn't be fixed by instilling a healthy dose of fear into the right.
changes to how America tackles retirements, the reality is that 401ks are here to stay. With that in mind, if you have access to one, put money into it, especially the younger you are. And yes, I will say there are risks involved, but the other option is not really having anything for your retirement. And that is arguably a lot worse. But then finally today, let's talk about your comments on yesterday's show, right? Commentary. Starting off with one of the most popular comments on yesterday's show about that whole Mr. Beast scandal. With local men is saying, imagining Mr. Beast's fall from grace being a result not of greed or hustle culture, but from defending his friend is as bemusing as it is absurd. Y'all need to leave Ava be already. I think my favorite take from the situation is, you're a parent, quit being pissy about trans people being parents and go be with your own kid already. Be a good example. Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking perfect.
I will say, I love that 90% of the Mr. Beast controversies are like, can you believe what he did? He built wells for people who need water and helped people fix their eyes and ears so they could see and hear things. Also, disgusting. He's publicly defending and supporting a friend that made a personal decision that only affects her life. Can you believe it? But I really do want to say, I do respect that Jimmy speaks up for Ava when things get like this. Because I agree with David Campbell, who said Jimmy actually doesn't need to defend Ava. He's choosing to. That's why I respect him. He's standing
Is that Ava?
by his oldest friend who hasn't done anything wrong or hurt anyone, right? Because the business decision here would be to just let things play out with no input from you, not risk the mob coming for you when you've built out an audience of everyone. And you can say, yeah, well, he's protected. He has such a big audience. But I mean, just look out there. The culture war is raging. Not only do you have something that is big, you have a lot to lose. And the fact that he's choosing to be a friend and a human first, I think is admirable. We can only hope that is the worst of the controversies that our favorites experience. But then I gotta say, there was also a lot of conversation around our disability story. And luckily, most of it wasn't about what I said about your sweet, sweet mother. Instead, we got comments like that from Tay Maddie, who said, can confirm in South Carolina that disability is...
Oh my God. Okay. As a person who is on disability in Kentucky, like they'll even tell you, like the best way to go through disability cases to hire a lawyer. And that's why the television stations are filled with lawyers advertising that they handle disability cases from border to border in Kentucky. I mean, it's like disability law is a fucking, yeah, because you need a lawyer to go through it, because in Kentucky, you automatically get denied. Like, seriously, the first denial, they don't even look at your case. Ask any doctor, ask any lawyer, and they will tell you the board doesn't even look at your case on the first denial. They just automatically deny you. And they think if you ask them why you do it, they will tell you, well, it discourages the people abusing the system. Yeah, never mind the fact that the person who really is disabled, who you just denied, now has another 2 years. Because that's like on the average how long it takes to get through it all. They will spend another 2 years trying to get their disability. And what are they supposed to do in those 2 years? They have no they have no safety net.
Is super backed up. My son is on disability, but we have never gotten a check and are number 14,000 on a list to even get any help. With another one of y'all sharing, when we went through the Social Security process, our lawyer told us, okay, so everything looks great, you'll get denied, and then we'll start and do it again. And we were like, oh my God, do we have errors in our paperwork? Did we do something wrong? And they said very matter-of-factly, oh no, they deny every application the first time and most likely a few times to really make sure.
What the fuck did I just say? What the fuck did I just say?
You seriously want and need it. I appreciated the honesty, but it felt like a huge punch in the gut with what we were already dealing with. The most surreal part? The judge was one of the kindest people ever. She only asked a few really compassionate questions and just said, yeah, it's all in the paperwork, nothing more to be said, and bam. Years of papers and voicemails and terrifying denials for that 10-minute process. With others saying they experienced the exact same or similar thing.
Same thing happened to me. Same thing happened
So
to
one
me.
of the more troubling comments I saw
I didn't even have to go in the room for more than 5 seconds.
was, I was born with spina bifida.
Yes. Save that.
I can't walk or stand for longer than 30 minutes at a time. The state of Kentucky said there are 0 jobs in America that I can do. They still will not give me any SSI because I went to college. I'm 43 now and things for my body have only gotten worse. But that, my friends, is the
Yeah, wow. I did say I was going to play a game. And I have ended up not playing a game.
Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Direct and live. Not live, but direct.
Oh, man. The world has bigger problems than boys who kiss boys and girls who kiss girls. It's not a problem. Appreciate the intent, but it's not a problem in the first place. Boys kissing boys and girls kissing girls is not a problem. It's only a problem if you're a bigot. This is weird because like my GPU hasn't updated in a long time. Just making sure because right now my stream is updating. This is weird. So I updated to Windows 11, and now I'm getting a million times more CP usage than I did before. I guess I'm gonna let the shit cool down a little bit for start to key. Oh my god. Updates, motherfucking updates. Ain't nobody watching anyway. Oh, okay. used to this. This new fucking interface. You're in this place and you want out of it. Making her gut ass. It says he's some shit. Hmm. My God. fuck? Here we go. Here we go.
Okay. I'm here. Hey! I made it!
Is everything all right?
Yeah! You can come up!
You do know you have the walkie-talkie, right?
Let's just go to the. Okay. Oh. Let's see. Let's put that low. That's the only thing I really want to. Yeah, I want everything else to be on,
Okay. I'm here. Hey! I made it!
Is everything all right?
Yeah! You can come up!
You do know you have the walkie-talkie, right?
You can come up.
Just go ahead. I need to find something in my backpack.
I bet you want to nap some more. I know you all too well.
Oh, maldición. Can't hide anything from you.
Very well. You can catch up, yes? The path leads through that canyon.
I know.
Did I just fuck up? I just fucked up. That wasn't a fall. They made it so you couldn't go down there and talk to her without dying. Look.
Oh, have you tied down the boat?
See. Jake, I know this might sound stupid under the circumstances, but I am glad we came back here.
Yeah, I feel you. The place is beautiful. Still,
we can't forget what we came here for in the first place. I know. But as soon as we're settled in, I am off to the Jawahuaca village. And what if they will not speak to us?
come on, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You're a phenomenal interpreter. If anyone can communicate with them, it's you.
Good thing I have an anthropologist at hand, Dr. Higgins.
Find a was gonna say, was it beads or a snake? Yeah.
Okay, I found the tent.
Is everything all right?
The camp looks impressive. They put up a tent for us. Looks like everything's ready. Soul Trail always delivers. At first glance, it looks like we have everything we might need.
Perfecto.
Well, that's everything. We're officially settled in.
You know what that means, don't you?
I remember the agreement, but maybe we should reconsider this. I'm not sure it's the best idea for you to visit them alone.
Cariño, you know I have to do this. It's the only way to make them talk. Oh, don't worry. It'll be all right. Better pick up some wood. Let's have a romantic dinner.
Romantic canned beans.
Use your imagination.
There you go. The best source of fats, fruits, the best source of carbs. Use the best source of always drink water to get item with natural.
Hon, get the campfire started, please.
Start from
I know it's common amongst Amazon tribes, but it's still worth writing down in your book. The dart frog, one of the deadliest amphibians on the planet, is completely harmless for the natives thanks to some kind of vaccination. The Jabahuaca, like many others, burn their skin and then puncture themselves administering small doses of frog poison. They keep repeating the process every once in a while to stay fully immune to it. It's barbaric for us, but it's an everyday routine for them.
holiday. else. Okay. Birds and monkeys there. Nothing there. Tigers there. Bugs and guineas. Let's see, so access this fire starting. Six small six small sticks. It's 8 regular sticks. Oh, okay. What? Sit on the log.
Honey, I can't seem to find a bag or two. Are you sure you brought everything?
Yeah, everything the porters left. Why? Is anything missing?
I'm not sure yet, but it feels that way.
Got to be a better way. How about this? Should be enough. That'll obviously. Oh yeah, rope.
Looks like everything's ready. Mia, can you bring me a lighter?
Remember when I mentioned we seemed to be lacking some equipment?
Don't tell me.
Yeah, we have no fire.
Not a single lighter, nor box of matches. We ordered both. Did you check everywhere?
I did. You need to do it the old-fashioned way.
Well, not the best start of the expedition.
Okay. Andrew, stick. Oh, crafting. Place item on the crafting table. Oh. Oh, that's the crafting thing. Oh.
I need to find something dry.
Find some dry such as bird nest fiber. Oh. Right there. Hey.
Oh, Mia! The fire is burning.
Coming. Give me a minute.
There we go.
How do you do it?
What?
You seem so calm.
I am calm. I don't know how to explain it, but strangely, it feels safer here than there.
Oh, I don't know. Jaguars, venomous spiders, and snakes. Let's not forget the scorpions. A mere ant's bite hurts like hell.
I am well aware of that. But still, we have a chance to achieve something. Make a difference. At home, all we could have done was be helpless and wait. I prefer the wilderness.
I love you. If I'd have known where my ambition would lead us, if I knew it would put you in danger, I wouldn't have written that damn book.
Yeah. And if everyone had that attitude, there would be no scientific progress whatsoever. Don't blame yourself. There might still be time to reverse the whole thing. And I love you too, Cariño.
Nonetheless, I'm a bit worried about you meeting the Yabawaka.
Everything will be fine. I need to go alone. We already agreed that's the only way. Besides, they don't seem to like you.
They don't seem to like outsiders. They shot arrows at a military chopper.
Hard to blame them. Since you published your book, they've been under siege by the media, scientists, doctors. The World Health Alliance established a medical camp and probably performed research, violating the tribe's taboos. But I will convince them. I have to.
That village, call me on the radio when you wake up. Yes, sir. Good for you.
Hello? Mia?
Hey, sleepyhead. Finally up?
Where are you?
I should reach the village shortly.
Remember, if you see a totem, do not go any farther. Those are clear warnings.
I know. I read your book.
Well, I was hoping we'd have breakfast together. You surprised me, that's all.
Admit it. You thought I forgot your birthday, didn't you? Well, I didn't.
Exactly what I wanted. It even has solar batteries.
And a macro element scanner. Check yourself to see if you're not missing any. We've been here only a few days, but stress can wear you out.
Tell me about it.
Number 1. So, I'm on the expedition with my wife Mia. Hey Mia. Hey Mia, say hello.
Oh,
focus on indexing new plant species, and Mia, can you explain what you're gonna do?
Well, I'm going to meet the Jabberwock tomorrow.
Worried, you know.
Of course you are. But I'm ready, don't you think?
I believe so. But it's still dangerous.
I know, honey. Don't worry.
Okay, that's all for now. It was...
Mia?
And Jake Higgins, day one.
Okay.
Well rested and well fed.
Perfect. And keep it that way. We need that brain of yours working at peak performance.
I'll try to take good care of it. Have you found him yet?
See. And as expected, they don't want to talk. They behave as if I am not here.
But they haven't driven you away. That's a good sign. You need to convince them that you're one of them.
Agreed. That seems to be the right course of action. I will sleep on the edge of the village and only eat what I can find.
Brave girl.
Thanks for the encouragement. Looks like I'm on my own from now on. We can't get in touch so often as long as I remain in the village.
Been thinking the same, but didn't want to say it. I really don't want to lose touch.
If anything goes wrong, I'll leave the village and get you on the radio. Otherwise, you can assume everything is just fine and there is no need to worry.
All right. Let's focus on the goal. I'll be focusing on indexing new plant species. I think I saw a few new specimens around here.
Tobacco plant. Great. Oh yeah. Climb over the big rock.
Oh, fuck me. Mia. I knew I was supposed to not call, but a line snapped and I fell down a good 30 feet.
Just Mio, are you okay?
I'm not sure.
Hold on. I'll walk away a bit so they can't hear you. Let me know once you have checked yourself.
Oh.
Oh, that's definitely not good. It's all right. Nothing's broken. Just scratches and bruises. Nothing to worry about.
In the jungle, every scratch can be dangerous. You need to patch everything up. Do you remember how to do it?
I can't say that I remember.
Look for Molineria. It has long leaves without any markings and is surrounded by yellow flowers.
Okay, I'll go look for it.
You should have it in your notepad. Call me when you've treated your wound.
Roger that. Over and out. Here I am, all wrapped up nicely.
Does it hurt?
Not much.
Good. Hopefully, it will heal fast.
So, how are you doing?
I'll be initiated in a few days. I am optimistic. I expect to be treated as one of their own after that, and I should be able to ask some questions then. Some elders are opposed to this, though. Luckily, Chief Kuini is on my side.
Why are they opposed?
I think they were divided even before I joined them. The chief wanted to approach the World Health Alliance peacefully, but a few of the elders insisted on fighting. Now, the Jabahuaca basically have two factions.
Sounds dangerous, Mia. Be careful.
I'm not in any danger. Told you, I'm optimistic. Jake, please come in. Jake, I need you here. Jake, please. Please answer me.
Mia? What happened? Mia, speak to me. Mia! What the hell's going on over there?
Okay. Jaguar. Biggest cat. Fine. Pyramid Jaguar tonight. Pretty good.
Hello? Jake, what the hell is going on there? Oh, come on, speak to me, Jake. ¿Por qué no me respondes?
Honestly, I hate to kill the main character.
Mia! Mia?
Well, it's not interesting if we don't kill him 9 times.
God damn it, this radio. Hello? Can anyone hear me? I had an accident. I don't know what happened. Please, help? Over.
God, did their brains misfire right here? I mean...
Fuck.
Do I need to check my notebook, or do I need to wait for you guys to finish whatever the fuck it is you're doing? Okay, now I can do notebook, but I feel like there's the dialogue option. Make a choice. What the hell? I'm confused. I don't know. He just gave me a million things. What? Stone crap. Laser. Am I supposed to be doing this? Palisade, gate, hotel. Am I supposed to be doing? Stone. What? What just happened? Oh my god. Oh, I see what's going on. They're overdoing journal entries with zero explanation. Let's say some fish. That's where I need to. Stand for your sticks. Bro. Did I lose everything? I did. That doesn't make any sense. Everything fell out of my backpack? devs saw fit to strip this area, so I'm gonna have to walk all over fucking. Find a small rock, find a small stick, find rope lines. Because like, see, there should be rope lines right here. They've intentionally stripped them. Shits and giggles. I keep saying, how many of the people on the because, you know, when I fell, my machetes. That happens all the time. Walking along, got your machetes in your backpack, fall into your backpack, just shits out all of its belongings. And they vanish into the ether. Which would be the only reason my belongings wouldn't be there in the water. Pick them all up. I mean, and that's the thing. I got my backpack. My backpack's still closed. Where's all the stuff that was in my backpack? No, I do not want a poison dart. No, I don't want to be eaten by that jaguar. Oh. Okay. We need sticks. What am I supposed to do with this rock? Here we go. Seeds. Nice. wire here is just gonna go out, right? There's another one.
Yeah.
That.
I need to rest.
Okay.
Shit. I need to rest.
I mean, I'm gonna be dead here in a second. What do I need to do? Okay.
Fuck!
Get it. That's
Shit!
Oh, I see what happened. Fucking idiots. No, that was sleep. What? Sleep. See, this is sleep. Spect is up here. This is sleep. Odd. Okay. Gave me this one. That's not what I pushed. I pushed inspect. Nope. Nope. That's inspect. Fucking moron.
God, I'm thirsty.
Okay. Okay. One more time. Inspect. You brain dead fucking idiot. Inspect. Design a good game. Inspect, 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 inspect. Fire went out. Now I'm inspecting. Okay. There's something. I don't know what that is. Well, I'm dying. What? Something else on me? Okay, another... I don't know what that is. I've got a worm now. My fire... Now I'm remembering why I've never played this game. Because it's a clusterfuck. Oh, notebook again. Look in your notebook again. Look in your notebook again because you farted. So now you've got to read about farts with no explanation why. Dirt, insomnia. What do I have? I have a worm. Using a bone or needle, it removes the worm but reduces. But I don't have a. Okay, so now you're requiring me to craft things that are like 2 hours beyond where I'm at in the game. Because you're doing like feral ghouls in Fallout. You're throwing the entire planet at me just to fuck me. Oh my god. Just like think about that. I've barely moved. I'm 10 minutes into the game. I've barely walked 5 feet, and I'm already dying from leprosy and cancer. That's on normal difficulty. That's a well-designed game? No, not by any stretch. Not by any fucking stretch is that a well-designed game. God. I mean, now the question is, do I want to try it again or just concede that this is probably going to happen? I mean, because already at the beginning, like what? I mean, go find help. Okay. Where? It doesn't tell you which direction to go in. There's no mapping. There's no nothing. Your journal is just going off like crazy. Here's entries. You don't know what they fucking mean. You looked at a plant. Here's 20 entries with no explanation as to what any of it is. And half of it you're not even going to need for another 6 hours into the game. So most of this information is useless. Oh, and by the way, here's 20 things that are going to kill you in the next 5 seconds. Because there was a jaguar right there. I just, no. I want to play a game that I can see. It's multiplayer I would play. Single player, this is just not, it's not a game in single player.